Good morning.
And good morning. Welcome to Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Burgio, and Mark Novak.
And I'm Mark Novak, Liam Bartlett.
What's that heading? Be productive. Shit, I forgot it. What is it? Be productive, be hygienic, and don't be stupid. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in Australia. There's lockdowns. There's work from home recommendations. But the world keeps turning. So I think one big thing that we took out of it as well is people can still move home as well. So that has a big impact on real estate. And also it was announced as essential service. Mark is on the topic.
Yeah, look, I think, yesterday there was the I can't remember the lady, Gladys. She made that there was a statement saying, get ready. Essential services are the only things that are going to be in operation. I personally thought, as a real estate industry, I thought, shit, is housing going to be essential, or is housing going to be non-essential? And the difference is, are we working from the office or are we working from home? Then last night, I think you missed it, Michael, but I think probably half the country did miss it. Our Prime Minister, Mr. ScoMo, came on. And it was pretty interesting. I think he's doing a great job. You were saying before, Michael.
Yeah, he has had and so are we as a country, a lot to deal with as a leader. And I think hats off to him. Like, we've had floods, we've had fires, and now the virus. And I think it's really good that, unlike the virus where everyone was slacking him off, everyone's sort of working together with this.
Fire, yeah. I think we've had a trifecta of shit.
We have. And I was watching some American news just for half an hour in the morning, and like, so many of their media outlets are blaming Trump for the virus, and they're just using this for political gain. And we're not doing that in Australia, which it's really, really good. I know there's what Tom Panel said, the Bondi bullfeds that are serial spreaders, he was saying. Besides that, and I think it takes a while for people to take it serious, and that's why sometimes the measures have to bring in a little bit sooner than you may assume they would, just because it takes time for people to adapt. And you could see that with everyone still going to Bondi, like, instead of staying home isolating, they're all out. So it can take a week for everything to happen. That when the announcement is, it's not like you make the announcement and everyone follows it straight away. It's like when the bell goes for recess, it's over. It's almost like, I know a lot of schools, they had two bells. One was like, it's over. Then one was like, get the fuck to the classroom, sort of thing. So we're just a bit of a relaxed, casual nation, you could say. So I think he's done really well. And it makes me think how much money's in the bloody economy, in our economy, with all these stimulus packages. Obviously not saying that they're not needed. God, they're needed. We're on the front line, especially as a company. We're seeing the pain commercial tenants are having. So it's definitely needed. But I think there's going to be some chain reactions globally, more financially, and then probably some mental health after this.
And look, guys, everyone out there, like, it's not a holiday. This is the time where we have to work harder than ever. Just because we're working from remotely, we've got to, there's part of the workforce which are out of jobs, that are in trouble, that are distressed. It just means the rest of us have to actually work harder, work smarter, work better, and be more productive. And that's part of today's being productive. I think as a real estate industry, I think, if you're going to be working from home, we've got to make sure that we're not being distracted by the white noise of media. Like, we've got to be hygienic, we've got to be respectful of each other, or we've got to keep the wheels turning. As an industry, we've got to keep people, in their homes, whether they're buying or selling. I think someone had a go at Lisa last night for advertising property for sale, and it's like, dude, we've got to keep the wheels turning. We've got to keep people, in properties rented. If someone wants to upgrade, facilitate. If someone wants to downgrade, facilitate. We've got to keep facilitating. If we decide to freeze everything, we're screwed.
Well, and as if we're listed as essential services, I think there's two ways about it as well. We can help advocate and calm tenants down in this situation as well, because that's where we're always sort of a voice of, not a voice of reason, but just when it comes to the market, like people turn to us for advice when it comes to real estate, but it's going to be much of this as well. So, and people, there's a lot of people who have sold in the last, think about this, you sold your home in January and you have to move out in, say, April, your settlement. Like I got a buddy who he's very fortunate that he bought prior to selling and then he sold. But if he hadn't had, like there's people on the market who have bought, they need to sell, they need to have homes because settlements are still going to take place. And we need to facilitate that as well. Rent still needs to be collected, and we also need to pass on this message to tenants and also educate commercial tenants as well. I've had a lot of owners call me saying, hey, they're asking for rent reductions, and a bit of advice. I'm saying, have they been aware of the government stimulus for small businesses? And then even the owner's like, oh, I wasn't aware of that. Then going, yep, pass that on to your tenant and see what
it's not a time to make up your own rules.
No.
You know, because at the end of the day, your head's on the chopping block for making those rules up. I think there's plenty of communications coming out of government, and I think it's important as a real estate industry that we move together, we move in sync. Because if they turn around and say, look, you're working from home, real estate industry, we respect that. If they say, you know, the distancing rules, you know, at open houses between people, we respect that. And I think that a lot of people are looking for rules and asking for rules to be made up from people that aren't in a position to make that up. And you know, you can have the best soldier in the world. If the army's not moving together, the soldier's going to lose. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got to, as like an army, we've got to move together, and as an industry, we've got to move together. And if that's the directive, like it or not, that these guys say, look, you know, the real estate's to keep pumping, or your kids are still to go to school. Well, that's the directive.
That's 100%. The iPad's dead, so I'm just going to look at it on my phone. So a message out there, and I think, like we've said before, a lot of digital inspections will happen. You can still rent a property, you can still move, and that's going to be the way forward. I think a lot of real estate agents, we always say we're time poor. Now's a great time to be tidying up your database, calling your owners, calling your buyers, and sorting them out. Like, Anmar, you're on. Well, I'd love to hear what are you doing? Are you working? Now I know you've got a team now, an external staff besides family. Are you working from home? Are you cleaning up the database? How are you handling business at the moment? Any other agents out there? Love to hear what you're doing as well.
Be interested to know what everyone's up to. But look, the direction is just to be productive, guys. Just keep, you know, we're just keep working, keep pumping. We're responsible for at Novak Properties. We've got 1,500 properties under management, and it's a responsibility that we have to follow. Do you know what I mean? To be productive for these guys, we cannot decide that, you know, make our own rules up on rents and abatements and reductions and stuff like that. This is for the big house to organise. Now, I believe on Tuesday night we're going to be. There's going to be some advocates meeting up for the real estate industry to decide on what's happening with rents with tenancies for commercial and for residential. So that's going to be, I think on Wednesday, we're going to have some really important announcements as an industry as to how rents are going to be looked after, because there's different methods and theories of how the government's going to deal with this, whether you know, because it's quite hard, because there's also going to be mortgages frozen for landlords potentially, or there's going to be mortgage. We're already in a lower interest rate environment for landlords. So landlords, you actually are enjoying a lower interest rate by approximately 0.5 to 0.25% as a result of what's happening. Now, that's changed your position by about 10 or 15% on your holding costs of your property. So you are already getting some form of relief now tenants are looking for some form of relief. And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the government's going to come in. How they do that is...
Mel just said today new legislation comes in place for real estate. So maybe there's a couple, Mark. Well, there's a lot to cover. There's the workforce, and then there's the how that they may say no open homes or private appointments. They're going to handle that. But I've said it from day one, like you can't be going into a lockdown and stopping a lot of business without this relief. Like owners, as much as we know, like for commercial tenants, let's say you got hospitality, no one's disputing that their business revenue is down 80%, if not more. But we as an agent...
Some industries, I think, tourism, travel, that or even more. But I think but you know what, Michael, if you're an industry doing well in these times, I don't think you're going to be gloating.
That's true. And there are a lot of industries doing well. Like I know IT, there's a lot of companies out there setting people up working from home. They're booming. They're too busy. So
well, I know there was someone senior within Optus, and the bandwidth is just going absolutely bananas. The amount of consumption is going absolutely bananas. We saw it last night on an industry coach, an industry head, Tom Panos, where he normally has 300 live views on a Sunday night. The max I've ever seen it in the last year, when my cousin Vlad came on, I think he hit 450, 500. Now, last night, the consumption of his media was 11 to 1,200 views. It almost tripled the standard views that he gets. So I think, that's like it or not, that's a win for a business coach or a trainer. And that's a win for an internet people. That's a win for people who want to consume that information. World's changed.
Yeah, and I said using the time to close deals, bring new deals as off market, and promoting them via email, over the phone, sending out video talk walkthroughs. They don't want to attend opens. 100%. Yeah, Tom had 1,200. Luke Mooney. Tongue-tied.
Mooney.
1,200 as well. So big. Where's that? Oh, we're up to 2,000.
Yeah, we've got record viewings today. That's incredible. Wow. But I basically think we've got clients that need business done, irrelevant to why. They need business done. They need their property sold, and there's people out there that need to buy. So I don't think it's, guys. A message out there to people: it's not selfish. If you are doing business in these times and good business, there's obviously a necessity for what you're providing. Pump it out more than ever. Don't feel bad. You know what I mean?
You can only sell a property if someone wants to buy. So it takes two to tango, and we're always just being the facilitator. The Prime Minister's announced it's essential. So, and then so what happened to Lisa? Someone slagged her off for promoting a property.
Yeah, someone's just saying, it's not the right thing to be in these times to be doing this or doing that. The world, the thing that we want most is the blood to keep circulating. There's no use we stop the virus and then we stop the blood circulating from the body.
That's the stupid, like what? So yeah, we're all small businesses. Things need to keep turning. The economy still needs to be stimulated. Why do you think interest rates are low? To encourage people buying property? And if we all shut down, that can't happen. There is a huge chain reaction when property is sold or transacted, where you got lawyers, conveyancers, valuers, deliverymen, real estate agents. There's a lot of stimulus into the economy when it happens. So
we've got to stay productive, guys. We've got to stay productive. All industries that are out there, the reason why you've got a business is because is because there's a necessity for what you provide. Now you've got to provide that hygienically more than ever, respectfully, with Corona more than ever. But you do have to provide those services for the world to go around. The only reason you took a pay every month in the last couple of years is because you were providing what people need. The odds are that's still needed in these times. Now, I get it if you're a pilot, that's not the case. I get it if some very select industries, that's not the case. But most industries, it's the case. You shouldn't be ashamed. You should proudly just keep staying productive and doing more than ever.
You should be happy that you still have a job. There's a lot of people out there. I know my buddy's wife, Qantas, forced leave 3 months, and we don't know where that would be going. Even my mum, that was their job, because they do all corporate events. It's basically forced leave and 30% pay reduction. This stuff is happening. So if you are fortunate enough to still have a job, then work.
Hard, because you're going to make up for the lost productivity in the other sectors of the market. And you know what? Don't feel bad about employing. I think even if you're in an industry that's actually busier than ever, you probably feel reluctant to actually put an employment job in, because it should be a time where you're being conservative and cutting costs. Not necessarily. You've got to stay productive. You've got to offer jobs. If you're doing more business than you've ever done, you should be offering more jobs than you've ever offered.
Yeah, and we need it.
Big time.
What else do you want to talk about, Mark? Anything else on this?
Just a quick touch on rents, and a quick touch on prices. I think a lot of people are expecting the arse to fall out of the world, which then means the arse should be falling out of real estate. So far, not the case.
It's true. And I tell you, guys, I don't think it's going to happen in real estate, because there's a lot of people, if they don't need to sell, they won't sell. So unlike the share price, where you'll just see people sell at a 30% loss, that's okay if it's $1,000, and well, it's never okay. But if you got $1,000 in it and you're selling at 700, 30% loss. If you got $1 million home, I doubt you're going to be selling it for 700,000 just because of this. You hold off. So I think people are quite protected by that as well. Don't you reckon, Mark? It's not like
I
share.
do.
It's literal money.
I haven't seen one property sell for cheap as a result of Corona.
Yeah.
So we've been operating for a couple of months in this environment now, particularly a last week or two in this environment. I haven't seen a property discounted due to the virus. So if anyone's thinking that they're in trouble, so far so good, guys. So far so good. And
the fact is, you're only lost if you've sold at that. So don't panic. There's still the buyers out there. There's marketplace. And unlike all pandemics or walls or anything, it bounces back stronger. So I think now's the time to buy, definitely, because if the people looking to buy are not going to not buy, and they're all going to come back in the market once this is past, and the competition is going to be huge then. So Lisa hit the nail on the head with her post. I think it was last night. Her view on it, the market will plateau. I believe I'm correct. I think volume transactions will be down. I believe prices will probably be very similar to where they were. But as soon as this is passed, it could be 1 month, it could be 6 months, it could be 9 months. Then it's going to be a flurry onto the market, and I think prices will skyrocket.
Look, if you're going to buy something, anything, and okay, say I'm consuming a product and I'm walking into a shop to consume that product. Do I want to have 100 people buying the product I'm going into the shop to buy, or do I want to have one?
Yes.
Or am I only going to go into the shop if there's 100 people going into the shop?
Yeah.
Sheep mentality.
Like
Sheep mentality. Like the toilet paper. So at the end of the day, if you need to consume property over the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years, if you need to consume property now, you just do it. You do it when there's less competition. Or do you wait until everyone comes back into the market for you to consume property? No.
Yeah.
If you can do it now, you do it now. Not for the reason of just yourself, but for the reason of keeping those wheels turning and staying productive in our marketplace.
Would it have been better to buy toilet paper in January or toilet paper last week? That's the perfect example of property. Yeah. And do you think the toilet paper company could have charged more for toilet paper in January or last week? Last week is the time it would have charged more. Same goes for property. Thanks, Amel. I love the example of toilet paper. So I thought I'd expand on that a little bit more.
So it's what does toilet paper have in common with property?
Yeah, supply and demand. Now rents, I think it will be rent's still due, mortgages are still due, but I do get like where that relief needs to come in, or see where the government comes in, because it will help quarantine people if they know they've got that security. Well, I think they doubled the dole, didn't they, Mark? Like if you lost your job, you can now get the dole. It's $1,100 a fortnight. I think Tom Panel said something like that. So you're not going to starve people.
It's good incentives coming through, and something that we also saw. I saw the biggest developer in Australia, a statement from Mr. One Harry Triggerboff, talking about population. So there's 250,000 population coming into Australia. That's the flow rate that we've had. That's the flow rate that we're probably going to have once this is over. And the amount of approvals, that's migration. The amount of approvals of property sits at about 120,000 if they build them. That's the approvals. So I think we're actually walking into a heavy low stock market. That's trouble for renters, because it means they've got to potentially pay more for rent, and it's a trouble for property prices, because potentially it makes it less accessible for people to buy stuff because prices go through the roof. So I think supply and demand is important to watch, guys.
Where was that, Mark? Where did we posted it in social? I want to find that and I'll attach it as the image. Where did we post that Meriton thing? I think I found. Oh no, that's Gladys.
Yeah, it's in our WhatsApp group, social WhatsApp group.
Oh, there it is. Meriton News. What if you're overseas purchaser? Is it that one? There has been never a better time to purchase the Meriton apartment. Meriton house have so far remained unaffected, and early indications for the up and coming weekend are promising. Although we are not immune to the virus, the basic demand drivers for home ownership still exist. Dwelling commencement across the country remain at a 10-year low, which means the gap between supply and demand is widening. Dwelling commencements 21, 140,000. Net overseas migration 230. I love that. I'll post that in the chat here. That was public, yeah. So you can I'll put that in here. And that's a very, I think we can't do it when we're live. All good. I'll post that in there so everyone can see.
Do you know what? I get that he's the richest guy in Australia and he's made his money out of property. And of course, he's going to spruik. But the only reason the guy's done so well is because he can read the play. So if he can read the market and actively give his interpretation of it, you got my attention. You've got my attention.
Well, he called 2 months prior to the market picking up, saying we're at the bottom, and he made that publicly in that letter.
Oh, look, I track him weekly, everything that comes out of his mouth, because I get the updates internally, and I then rack that up and look back 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Every single time he's been ahead of the curve. He's been more ahead of the curve than the government when it comes to property, with his statements, than the Reserve Bank, than everyone. This is a guy that's fundamentally made his property from getting the market, understanding the market, and giving people what they want. And that's how he's made his money. So at the end of the day, if that's what he's saying right now, with that we're coming into an undersupply of property, it's a fact and it's the truth.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what, to agents out there who may not be able to get listings, they've got great stock to sell. You can apply to be a representative and sell their stock. They've got hundreds of units to sell all across New South Wales. And I think Victoria, they've got a project. I don't think New South Wales at the moment. So there's great opportunities to be selling those apartments. That's it. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And we'll be back live. We've got Monday night. News will be on at 8 o'clock through the Novak portal as well, and then the Sunday, our daily show will be back tomorrow morning as well. So thank you, everyone. Giddy up. Thanks, Michael. Cheers, everyone.